But one salesman in specific was like then getting a little bit more personal, asking questions, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then he asked me like, are you married? And then he asked for my phone number. First he asked me like, was I married? And then he was like, why are you not married? And I was like, well, that was kind of strange. Then he asked me if I was crazy. And I said, well, honestly, let me just say this to you. I said, do you really think if I was crazy, I would respond with a yes?
Do you think I would be honest in the moment if I was a little crazy? Welcome to the Uninvited Guest Podcast.
Hosted by Samina
and Marissa.
We are the mother-daughter duo.
Turn one of your little friends.
Get ready to ditch the filters.
We're trying to break generational curses. Here, the conversations must flow free because our real life interpersonal growth depends on it. So get ready to be a part of the twists and turns in our own life stories that could give any comic book baddie a run for their money.
If you're up for some heartfelt storytelling that celebrates growth, resilience, and the struggle to keep going, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. Hello, my name is Samina. I'm your resident host, menopausal mommy, with 7 years until retirement, with range at reporting from my home in Dallas, Texas, with open tabs ranging from the Summer Olympics. It's getting closer. I'm getting so excited. Yeah. And I'm back to looking for real estate in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting closer. We're going to go visit potentially a friend who already lives there. Yeah. That's exciting. Yeah. I'm excited.
As a family, that'll be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Family trip.
Yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually last year.
Which for us
and
while. Like it has been a while. We were at one point doing them more frequently.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
How about you?
Hi. My name is Marissa. I am your resident zillennial host with 122 days until I turn 30, and open tabs. Summer date nights.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I can't wait to hear.
Yeah, living in like LA, there's so many things to do, and I just want to I love planning. You instilled that in me, like experiences. So that's definitely an open tab for me. And probably my Pinterest. My Pinterest. We are inching our way closer to I do.
Ooh. I do what?
I do want to marry you.
Oh, okay. I love it.
Yeah, so I have my private board, so you can't find it.
Oh, can I see it?
Yeah, I'll add you in.
Okay.
But it's Till Death Do Us Part is what it's called. And it's just all the things. We're doing it very non-traditional, but yeah, I still have ideas of how that will go.
Am I invited?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to know.
No, you're invited. You're invited? Oh my gosh, you kidding? But yeah, those are my open tabs this week.
Okay. I love that.
But back to you. What's your word of the week? What?
Anxious.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Are you anxious about me getting married?
Now, yes. To see if I'm going to get an invitation.
Oh.
No. No, I'm anxious because this morning I had a mammogram.
Is that your first?
First.
That's normal though. Like 58.
No, I think you should have done it like a long time ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I finally just realized, okay, Samina, you're not getting any younger. You know, I've had a lot of colleagues that have been diagnosed with some form of cancer or have died, you know, as we get older, obviously. Yeah. Death is imminent. Yeah. And I just feel like it's time to check in with my health, and then not only that, knowing that we plan on retiring outside of the country, and healthcare is important wherever we go, right? But I need to be informed before I get there.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
So I need to know where I am to know where I want to live.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I just need to put all those pieces together. But anyway, I'm just anxious because I had the test today after many years of denial that I need to take it. Yeah. And now I'm anxious to see what the results are going to be.
Yeah. Well, I'm praying over that situation.
Thank you.
And I know I guess we've read so many stories about people who are like, I was healthy and then all of a sudden I wasn't.
Right.
That was me.
Right.
But I do have a bit of confidence that you are a student. You're a lifelong student. So whatever the news, like you're still doing the work.
Yeah.
And that in itself is good.
Yeah.
Like good enough. So shout out to you.
Yeah.
Was it painful?
The funny thing is, it wasn't painful while I was doing. It was kind of awkward more than anything.
Okay. Could it be any more awkward than that clamp thing going in your vagina? and like, honestly, pap smears, no one prepares you for pap smears.
Yeah, I think the pap smears are kind of like awkward just because, someone's going down there, right? And they're putting that thing in you.
Yeah.
And that cold instrument.
Yeah.
But
You're
the
supposed to be
angle
turned
that
on
they
instantly.
have you turning to put your breast on the scanner, you know, and so, it is kind of awkward. Put your chin up. Don't breathe when the scanner is moving.
Now, how does that work?
They tell you to breathe before, and then as you get ready to scan, they say don't breathe. So, and because they say because of movement, as a scan, they like any picture, you want it to be still.
Yeah.
And if there's movement, it blurs the image, obviously.
How long is the scan?
Not very long,
Okay,
but it's
so
just a
6
thought.
seconds. Yeah.
It's just a thought.
Yeah. There's like a
breathe.
lot
Yeah,
thing you're working with.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Is there anything now that you know that you would share with people, like in preparation for? What?
Don't put lotion on. That was the one thing that they said beforehand.
Yeah.
Don't wear deodorant. Don't worry, guys. I have now put deodorant on.
Thank you.
Because I didn't want y'all to smell me.
Kind of questionable.
And then you have to have try not to go in with a dress.
Yeah.
Because, you have to undress from the top up. So have two pieces, shorts or pants or whatever.
Okay. Comfortable.
Something comfortable. Yeah. Well, if you have to work, but at least still have 2 pieces.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Instead of just wearing one piece.
Yeah. I would have totally brought in a bodysuit and been like.
Yeah, of course you would have. So.
Anyways. Well, I'm glad you did it. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
I think as your daughter, I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're on my list, by the way.
What?
The ones that I gave them, the
like
HIPAA
permission.
Yeah, to disclose.
Nice.
You're on all of them, by the way.
Oh, I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, every doctor, you're always on it.
Oh, same.
Oh,
if you didn't know that, I'm pretty sure you knew that.
Well, I never even thought about that. I mean, I've always been there, right, through all your illnesses. But now that you're an adult.
Yeah. You're still on there, and will always be on there. Yeah. Actually, I don't think there's a reason to take you off.
Yeah.
And the mans will be added.
Yeah.
Soon, just because he's proximate.
Yeah.
Erica was always on there for a while. I mean, I think the moment that she took me with that Crohn's diagnosis, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Erica, you deserve.
Yeah. Well, you know who I almost didn't put? Grandma's on there too. But I almost didn't put her on there because you know how the grandma is.
Yeah.
Very sensitive, to say the least.
Should we? I think very quickly, very, very quickly, in under 2 minutes, tell that story of when we figured out Grandma is so sensitive.
Yeah. So the story is when Marissa broke her arm for the very first time, and you were 5, and Marissa's, of course, the first grandchild on my side. And so anyway, we had the whole family there, grandma, grandpa, uncle, aunts, cousins, everybody was there because, this is her first major incident. So they all come to visit. Grandma's there. They're getting ready to set Marissa's arm so they can cast her. And the next thing I know is my mom, Marissa's grandmother, has fainted right there right outside of her room. So now I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Do I go to my child? Do I go to my mom? I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Anyway, Marissa did actually, they released you that day.
Yeah.
But they kept my mom overnight. So then, of course, I was like, who do I actually tend to?
Yeah.
So at that point, we always had this inner joke that we would never contact her grandma immediately when something happens. When the dust had settled, then we would let her know because we just didn't want her fainting on us.
Honestly, we'll get into the story at some point, but that should have been the moment we knew.
Oh, right.
Kind of like me with Crohn's.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about that, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
We'll get into that at some point. But
how about you? Got a word of the week?
Oh, right. Yeah, kind of to your point about health, like exhausted. Going down from the first break at 5 to multiple surgeries over so many things.
Yeah.
Right now I am battling, and I have always been battling. I've been battling for, I guess, when did I go to Morocco? I don't know. But
I wasn't on that trip.
I'm sorry.
Still on my bucket list.
But you met us all. That's why I was. Anyways, I got hay fever, and I've had terrible sinus issues since. And so procedure, and then another procedure, and now I'm like trying to. It's unavoidable. The next procedure that I have to get for my sinuses, but I've heard the worst of, I guess, like aftercare comes with it, like throwing up blood.
Ew.
Yeah, and it's just a painful surgery, and at this point in my life, like I don't want to go under. I don't want to do. I don't want to do.
I mean, is there really any surgery that's not painful?
I know. Yeah, this is true. But it's interesting. It was kind of like me back in the day. Like I was so daring. I was so rambunctious. Like I was willing to jump off couches and now you think twice. Like you're like, should I? Like I can still do a backflip, but I'm always like, should I? Before I do it.
I'm glad you do that.
Yeah, thanks. Because like I'm just like, I don't know if I should do that. And so I think now I'm at the surgery point where I'm like, should I do that?
Yeah.
But I don't have a choice because I'm suffering so bad, and I've been suffering for a very long time.
Yeah.
And at this point, it's unavoidable. So I'm exhausted of just the whole process.
Yeah. Well, I'm wishing you the best. Whatever decision you decide to make.
Yeah. But I do want to get back on you and women's health because I think it's important that we focus or bring focus and kind of like take out the stereotypes. And some are true, right? Stereotypes come from somewhere. But the aging process, and like it's beautiful. It's beautiful to age. Like I am having that revelation now, and I hope I continue to have that mindset that it is such a gift to age.
Of course, yeah.
And you're aging, and you've aged to the point that they say, what is it, like 20 years after your last kid, right?
Yes.
Is when menopause.
Average, yeah.
Yeah, is when menopause starts. So now you're in the phase of menopause. You're doing the things that you can. But like, what has this been like for you? Like this season? What are you rediscovering about yourself? What are you discovering about yourself?
Other than the night sweats,
right,
and the day sweats,
right.
And, but just like the weight loss, the fact, or the weight gain, I should say, the fact that it's hard to lose the weight, no matter what you try, and I think if I had to go back, you think I would say stuff like, make sure you exercise, make sure you're lifting weights. I'm not a weightlifter, you know that. I don't necessarily like to lift weights, but it's obviously an important thing to be able to keep the weight off, or at least to stabilize. I think it's inevitable for all of us women that kind of end up with like the middle gut area, at least while we're going through menopause. Yeah. I'm sure once I get on the back end of it, then that won't be the struggle. But at least while you're going through it, that's the one battle that I'm continual to fight.
Yeah.
But I've just, thank goodness, I'm also in a stage in my life where, it's just a stage, and I'm not stressing myself over trying to kill myself, trying to look good a certain way. I've just got to be happy with the way I am at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
not try to meet societal standards, whatever that may be, you know.
So hard to keep up with now. BBL Drizzy is crazy.
So, that's the whole thing.
Yeah, I feel that. Do you feel like, is there anything that you want to do in this menopause space? Like, now that you know, I don't know, I guess because I'm not there, it's really hard for me to frame the question. But with women who are also experiencing this, there's studies, there's trials out there. Would you do any of that, or is that
I think I would. I think honestly, what would really be nice is if we, because there's groups for everything, right? Yeah. If you have an interest, there's an interest for everything,
right?
But for some reason, menopause is still a taboo thing for women.
Yeah.
It just really isn't talked about. But really, there should be a menopausal group where we women can come together and talk about our experiences and not feel ashamed to talk about what we're going through, because all of us are different what we go through. It's kind of like pregnancy, all our pregnancies are different, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, to have a group that you can lean on, because no matter how much I tell you, you don't understand you just listen to me, right? But you really don't understand. I mean, you see what I go through, but you don't really understand.
Yeah.
And I think it's a time in our life, because there's so many obviously older people, that it's accepted. Menopause should be, gray hair should be accepted.
Right. We accept so many things from men.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. Accept my wrinkles,
Right.
I mean, I don't have that many, thank goodness, amen. But, but you know what I'm saying? I mean, we should be able to accept what we've earned. I've earned to live to 58. My grays should be accepted for what they are.
Yeah.
And my wrinkles should be, or my belly fat, they should all be accepted without someone looking at me thinking, she's some old lady, fat old lady.
Yeah.
That doesn't care about herself. But that's furthest from the truth. They don't know what I've gone through. They don't know what I'm going through.
Yeah.
And so, it would just be nice to have a women's group, a menopausal group to, collectively put your heads together and, just to uplift you.
Yeah. It is interesting. Society really has gone off, I would say, off the deep end. We're not even on the cliff anymore. We are so, drowning in people's quick thoughts. Their first thought is what they decide to throw out on the internet, in the comment section, on their Facebook statuses. It's just so quick to judge people and not knowing, you were not there
right
any day prior to that.
Right.
Or maybe if you were, it was intermittent, right? No one is in anyone's life that consistently. Even our parents, right? There's days that you miss that I have to catch you up on, but I'm willing to do so, right? To bring you into the narrative. But the people that weren't there in the beginning, and then don't even care to know, but they just want to judge off of that. It's just, it's scary. It really makes, I think that's my fear of the future.
Yeah. And then also, I think it's important because, your grandma didn't talk about menopause with me. There's a lot of things. I just want to say women's health in general.
Yeah.
They didn't really talk about women's sex. We didn't talk about sex education. We didn't really talk about.
Yep.
And so I think it's also important that I'm able to have this dialogue with you. So whenever you go through these experiences, you'll understand and hopefully have more knowledge going into it. You'll go, oh, I remember, my mom, what did she deal with? How did she deal with it? Yeah. But you won't be blindsided. It's almost kind of like when your period comes,
right.
You're all of a sudden blindsided. No one talks about it until it's actually there.
Right.
But why?
Right.
It's part of life that we women have to go through.
Yeah.
So I think it's, that's another thing that I appreciate that I'm able to have this conversation with you to let you know what I'm going through. So when it does happen, you know exactly what I'm saying exactly, but you know that you're going through it and you're not alone, and you'll hopefully when your time comes, there'll be many resources out there and it'll be more openly accepted as well.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we've had many funny discussions, some serious ones about like what menopause is. And, this is a season of life. So I do appreciate the open dialogue because it is, despite me being like fearful of it. And I guess I'm becoming less fearful of it. Cause I'm just like, oh, it happens.
Right.
It happens. If, we are blessed enough to make it there. It happens.
Right.
Which actually I'm thinking, I'm like, maybe as you were talking, I then had a thought pop in of like, did we not research menopause because women didn't live very long?
I don't think so. I think they just, women health has always been
absolutely
the last thing that's already that
on
they
the
do
agenda.
research. Yeah. So
yeah. But I don't know. It was just like life expectancy was so.
No, but women outlived men in general, so that can't be the case.
Yeah, that's true. That's frustrating. That actually makes me even more frustrated.
But I think it's because the medical industry is men driven, right?
Yeah.
And so that's who they focused on. They really just probably thought we women were crazy.
Yeah.
It was all in our head. I'm sure that's what, and I think now that there's more women in the medical field, it's obviously becoming more of a discussion on women's health issues. Probably menopause is still at the back of it because those doctors are younger still. They haven't gone through it, right?
Yeah.
Or unless they're seeing their parents go through it, it's probably not on the top of the agenda, or maybe there's not the funds for it. But I definitely think as our population is getting older and as people are living longer, which means now that there are going to be more women going through menopause, it definitely needs to be a discussion out there.
Yeah.
To help the women through this.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, we will definitely be a part of that discussion.
Yeah.
And making sure we do everything that we can to advocate, not just for women, but also like Black women.
Yeah.
I think, in me entering a season of like childbearing age, I'm reading like the Black female like mortality rates of pregnancy. Like I'm like, whoa, that is so scary.
Yeah.
To think about that, like that's such a risk.
Right.
To give birth to add legacy.
Yeah.
You're taking such a deep risk.
Yeah. And I don't think I realized that even when I was pregnant with you. Maybe it was a good thing I didn't realize that. I probably would have been afraid to have you.
Even more afraid?
You mean?
Yeah,
I mean, because to know that you were putting your life at risk to have a child, I mean, it didn't even, and maybe that also goes along with, we're talking about how women's issues are now being discussed. Like back then, it really wasn't even a discussion.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it just happened.
Yeah.
And maybe that has to do with the internet now that we have access to those kind of data.
Yeah.
Where before we didn't, you had to pick up a book to figure it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And even then it was like hidden in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure, they didn't want us to know.
Right.
In a way. Well.
Yeah.
Praise be to be in this time, I guess. Advancements always come. Well, something else that you're experiencing, and we're both experiencing it together. It's one of my favorite discussions because I don't think I would have ever. I didn't foresee this for you because for so long you were like, I'm not gonna get married. I'm not gonna date. I'm not going to. And my honey dad, which is what I call him, he had other plans. He said, "Oh, you gonna get this loving. You gonna find this love, okay? Or not even find this love. This love is gonna find you."
Yeah.
So finding love I kind of want to talk about it, about like you finding love in your 50s. him accepting you in this menopausal era, right? Because men have to accept that.
Yeah.
Or your partner has to accept that. So what has that been like for you? Like, what have you, the dust has settled, right? On like who you are. I feel more than ever, from my perspective, I feel like you're so sure and confident in who you are. And there might be some areas that you're still like, not sure.
Right.
But that's life, right? Like
Right.
we still have the ability to learn.
Right.
But like what now in going around two?
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, like you said, I never expected. I did say had no intention of ever remarrying.
Yeah.
But I would watch people around me, and I'm like, in my mind, in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, so obviously, if this person is remarrying, there must be hope. I still have to have hope. I still believe in love. I did always believe in love.
Yeah, girl, them Lifetime movies be telling you every time.
So I still believed in love, but then I just had to redefine what love really meant for me. It was more than just the physical. I realized you had to get past the physical attraction. There was more than just that. It was the person, and like you said, going through this menopausal stage, because it's not like back in our 20s, we're like fit, looking fine.
Yes.
But that's not necessarily the case.
Y'all still fine.
Yeah, we love you, but all the lumps and the bumps and the hot flashes and so yeah, I mean, just knowing that there's someone that loves you for who you are at your stage of life, and not necessarily have the same vision, because we didn't have the same vision, going into like retirement, we're talking about, right? But our vision has come together, and it's not a lopsided discussion. And I think that was the most important thing, is that, it was an open dialogue. It wasn't a hard no. It wasn't, because obviously Honey Dad wasn't necessarily out of the country, wasn't necessarily on his agenda.
Right.
Right. He definitely wanted to be by water.
Yeah.
But, then we just decided, let's go where there's warmer climate, and we're surrounded by water, and the cost of living is also more affordable, and so yeah, I think, and then knowing that he loved you as much as he could, like he was your own dad.
Yeah.
I think that even in your adult age.
Yeah.
Right?
Because that's when he met me. I mean,
right.
I was always,
Yeah. So, and I think that was really, really important to me. Knowing that he still was accepting of you, knowing that you were my child, and no matter what, you're still going to be there, right? And you guys have such a great relationship, obviously, to call him Honey Dad.
Yeah.
So that was still important to me, because, I think that was one of the reasons why I never remarried while you were younger. I told you, and it was a lot to do with protection of you. And those discussions always broke down when it came to you as my child. And they didn't necessarily break down. It was me.
Right.
It was my internal thinking, nah, this ain't. I remember always thinking to myself, look, two people, the parents of the child don't always agree on how children are raised, right? Because we come from different backgrounds. The actual biological parents.
Mom, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So why would I really expect an outsider to
you better preach,
to actually, agree with the way? So then that's where we always butt heads. But Your honey dad, really. I mean, where he's not raising you, right?
Right.
But we are pretty much aligned
Yeah.
as adults.
Yeah.
And as far as like grandkids, like, he is the man that wants the grandkids around.
Yeah.
Has that discussion. And I like that. I do like that. So yeah, that's important.
Yeah. I think it's been so beautiful because it really, I mean, I think it was something in the back of my head, definitely as an adult. Even despite my hesitancy of like not wanting to be tied down, I still wanted you to find your love because I knew how selfless you were in raising me. I was like, you deserve your era.
Yeah.
You
Thank
deserve your era. You're so worthy. You deserve your era of partnership and a do-over that feels more in alignment to how you wanted to love and be loved. And so I was an advocate for Honey Dad. You know, I was part of the reason why I left. And I remember having this conversation and I told you in the way of what made sense in my head, which is cooking terms.
Right.
And I said, you were like, if you leave, then who's going to cook for me? And like all these things. And, you know, it was more than that. But like, I was like, Mom, well, look, it's like I'm garlic and he's shallots. Like, they go good in everything.
Yeah.
They go good in everything. And he'll cook for you. And like you did, like you have your new list, right? Which I am an advocate for. Like, don't let anybody tell you you can't write a list of what you want.
Right.
Because also it makes it very clear to you.
Right.
You cannot deny what you wrote in your own handwriting.
Right.
That this is what you want in a partner.
Right.
And so I had to step away for you to see, in my perspective, I needed to remove myself from proximity because our codependency, because our relationship became so healthy that we were like mom and daughter, besties, lovers. Not really, but you know what I'm saying? We were doing life together. There was not a moment really where we were not including one another.
Right.
And so I'm like, no, like include him.
Right.
Present this to him. Like talk to him about this, you know? And so, and I have seen y'all improve y'all's relationship with my removal and moving to California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Very true.
Yeah. It's helped.
That cooking was definitely on the list. I needed a man that was going to cook.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the one. That was like of all things on the. I mean, there's many things on. There was obviously many things on the list, but that was one thing that never changed on my list. You know, I don't know if I ever told you, but many years ago, I had a girlfriend. Her husband, and I always admired the fact. You know, we both worked, right? Her husband worked, and then he would still come home and make all the dinners. You know, he'd be like, "Honey, sit down. I got this." And he still does to this day, right? This is 20 plus years and he still does.
Oh, they're still married.
They're still married.
Oh, Jesus.
And I was like,
won't he do it?
So I was like, wow, you know what? My next man, he's gonna be the one that cooks. Like all these chefs out there, they're obviously men that cook.
Right.
Like I just don't want to be stuck
Another
in a
men-driven
sterile role that women have to be in the kitchen. Not if I'm like a full-time employee as well. You know what I'm saying? So if we're both full-time, why is the woman the one in the kitchen? Like, you know, unless that's your passion. So why can't I find a man with that same passion that likes to cook? And that's what I have.
Yeah.
You know?
You used the right word. Like it literally clicked. Like because we live in this new age, right? Where like both the women and the man are working full-time. Like, write down your passions and then find someone that aligns with your passions so that you can still feel that balance.
Right.
But it's not the balance of society standards.
Right.
Like it blanketed on yours, right? Like that truly is it. And that's good. That's some wisdom right there.
Hey,
Yay,
that
was
comes with
free.
age.
That was true. Yeah. Is there something, I mean, obviously there's many things, right? Tall, dark, and handsome. I remember going to the Oprah talk with Tracy Ellis Ross. And she was like, if you ask for she was like, if you ask for tall, dark, and handsome, you will get exactly just tall, dark, and handsome. Like,
Amen. I've
specific.
said that. I've said that. I don't know if you've ever. Well, I probably never told that to you, but I've always told that to everyone else because that was
my dad.
Your dad. I didn't ask for anything else.
I didn't ask for anything else. No.
And he fit the bill.
Yeah.
You know, and that's when I realized, whoa.
Yeah.
I should have been a little bit more specific.
Yeah.
You know, that's when I learned to be specific, you know.
Yeah.
But then my list has also changed over the years. As I've changed, my list has changed. But the cook part had not.
Yeah. So, like, okay, I've found my life partner. Thank God.
Amen.
The game is ghetto. It is
yes,
ghetto
it is.
outside.
And I'm just gonna tell this.
What?
Even at my age, they still play the same games. It's wild to me in my 50s, before I found Honey Dad, to find all the men that still play games, that still lie, you know, still cheat.
Yeah.
You know, still married.
Yeah.
You don't. You know, it's just amazing.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm like, wow. Like, don't you get tired? Like,
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, just be upfront. Like, we're in our 50s. Be upfront now. Like, come on now. We've lived at least half our life now.
Yeah.
You would hope anyway. It's just, we're too old to play games, but there are a lot of people still out there playing games. And there may be women out there playing games too. I don't know.
Sure.
But I can only speak for the, you know, because I only dated men. So
right.
I can only speak for the men, you know.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I was like trying to weed through the BS.
Right.
Was definitely, you know, daunting. But thank goodness I'm on the other side of that now.
Yeah. Was that where some of your hesitancy was when you met
Even
him?
with Honey Dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
I told him, he was like, why aren't you married? You know, they all say that, right? Why aren't you married?
I hate that question.
Yeah. I said,
why aren't you married? Excuse me?
Is there something wrong with you?
Yeah.
Actually, the funny thing is, I just recently went and got my car serviced, and I realized it's really funny as you're sitting there, which now I know why I never sat there getting my car serviced, because the salespeople are probably told to try to sell you another car while you're waiting. I had 3 salesmen come up to me while I was sitting there waiting for my car to be served, just a normal service.
Yeah.
And of course, they're trying to upsell to a newer car, right? And but one salesman in specific was like then getting a little bit more personal, asking questions, blah blah blah. Yeah. And then he asked me like, "Are you married?" And then he asked for my phone number. First he asked me like, "Was I married?" And then he was like, "Why are you not married?" And I was like, "Well, that was kind of strange." Then he asked me if I was crazy, and I said, "Well, honestly, let me just say this to you." I said, "Do you really think if I was crazy, I would respond with a yes?"
Do you think I would be honest in the moment if I was a little crazy?
You know. But anyway, so I just, that question is just kind of funny to me that people would even ask, like, why are you not married?
Yeah, or like, why are you
Because I
single?
choose not. And I looked at this man thinking I wouldn't marry you anyway, but anyway. So.
I already gave, my first impression said no to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. That's so true. I hate that question so much.
Yeah.
But I think it's just like an icebreaker. But I'm like, can we get better icebreakers?
Yeah.
Like, that's your leading question of like what? I'm not sure I want to give that up for you.
Yeah.
Not sure I want to give that up for you.
Yeah.
But having gone through the game, we're both out of it. But if I were still in it, and to women my age, to just younger people, right? I don't think I think this advice should go across the board because, actually, if I'm thinking about it, yes, there can be gender specific advice, but I think that's also where the division is, and like the miscommunication and some of like the strains is because like we're telling women this and we're telling men this when everyone should be getting this advice. Like, what is the advice for just young people in general?
You know, I used to always tell you,
Date
often. That doesn't mean sleep with them.
Yeah.
That just means date often, because you're really trying to figure out what you like in a person and what you don't like. And with every person, you learn that everybody's different.
Yeah.
And you learn, and you kind of like pick apart different pieces of a person to figure out, okay, I like this, I don't like this, can I tolerate this, can I not tolerate this?
Yeah.
And then hopefully you can find a good blend for that one person.
Yeah.
You know, don't just go by pure attraction right off that tall, dark, and handsome.
Right.
You know, because that'll set you up for failure right there off the beginning. So yeah, I would say just still date often.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean sleep with them. That just means get I'm very, you know.
Yeah. I will say I took that advice and kind of ran with it.
That's okay.
Yes. Oh yeah, it's okay because I grew from it.
Yeah.
But I definitely I dated often.
Yeah. But you know, like you talk about the gender roles, because it's really weird. Like men can quote unquote date, women can't quote unquote date often without being considered some kind of derogatory term, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, but really, honestly, it's just about, you know, keeping your integrity, dating, and letting them know that, hey, you know, you're not the only one I'm dating. You know, I'm still single, very single.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out what I like. Do I really like you or not? And if they're not willing, then bye.
Yeah.
You know, there's somebody else that, you know, there's
Yeah.
someone that's willing to date you and be okay with you still trying to find out who you are and who you are willing to be with. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I think that was great advice. Like date often, because I dated the gambit of people, and I feel so rooted in who I am now and so confident in who my partner is that I'm like, you are the one.
Yeah.
There could be no one like you.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't risk losing you. Like, I will do everything I can. I now hold him to such a standard, and I hold myself to such a standard because I appreciate our relationship so much, because I was willing to, I guess, get to know myself and get to know other people.
Yeah. We love that. Love that.
Yeah.
Yay.
That's the thing. Whoa. Well, I have to catch a flight.
Yes, let's go, girl. We gotta go.
So we'll talk to you on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Uninvited Guest. We'll see you again soon. Bye.